Greetings, family. Hey, before we get started, I want to give a big thank you to Hassan because, you know, she's been behind the camera. Y'all don't even see her, but she's an integral part of what we're doing. So swing that camera around so they can see your beautiful face, Hassan.
Yeah, just take the whole, oh yeah.
She's finna show you, that's her. She's the one that makes this thing work because she's behind that phone. So
yeah.
I just wanted to say thank you to Hassan.
Thank you,
let
Sonny.
everybody
We
know
appreciate you.
and know what her beautiful face look like so you can know who's behind that camera.
Yes.
But today we talking about being. And I'm excited because that's my favorite part of this existence right now is being. Because I was talking to Aja about it and I was telling her that since we are made up of this physical and the energetic, we always deal with who we are as to the difference between what we are. We think who we are or who we think we are is all in all, and that is far from the truth because what we are is beings. Yeah. Beings of energy. Beings that emit energy and absorb energy. So, we're going to be dealing with beings for the next part of these sessions because being is the essence of what we come here to do. That's why I said we are human. After we get the human part together, then we are beings. Beings that represent what? The universe. We are all part of this whole cycle. No matter how small a part it may be, it's still a part of the whole. So, when you really think about yourself, and this goes for a lot of you who lack confidence in yourself, remember this. Nobody no different than nobody else. It's how we approach things, our mindset towards certain things. And I say that because we are like ants to other beings. There's just not physical beings that's upon this earth. They have beings here that's been here longer than us. And they don't have organic bodies, so we don't think they exist, but they very well exist. And because they exist, that poses a challenge to us. Why? Because they have the ability to influence your mind and make you believe you have thoughts that's not your thoughts at all. But you believe that they're thoughts. Why? Because you're not understanding the difference between being what you are or being who you are. When you are being who you are, then you are expressing all those things that are, you can say, weakening to your being what you are. Because when you consider who you are, it's always with a title or a tag or some external,
some physical,
you can say identification. That has nothing to do with being. Because being, you are everything. That's why when for those of you who know the Bible, when they asked Joshua, who do you say that you are? He said, I am that I am. Before Abraham, I am. What the hell do that mean? That means that we all existed at the same time. It's just most of us don't recognize it. This creation that we live in is all part of what we created. That's why it's so diverse. It is diverse because it's all of our creation. So as we begin to understand how we are a part of the whole, we begin to see ourselves differently. We begin to accept who we are as beings and not who we think we are as humans. That's why I said it's a manual. Human, being human. we have to understand what the human part is to get to the being part. Those work hand in hand. Your being lives inside this vessel that we call a body. It's just like a car. For real. We inhabit it, but it's not who we are.
Right.
You don't consider your car being who you are. Your car is something that you get in and you go on about your business, doing what you feel needs to be done. Greetings.
Hey, family.
Hi, good.
USHA family.
Yes.
You know, we here at USHA. That's where I do this every week. And, you know, it's always people here, but not always people come. So for those that come, I always have to say thank you.
Yeah. Well, most of the time there is always a bunch of people here.
Right.
So, but, you know, it's cool because we are at the legendary USHA Village in Honduras. So this is Dr. Sebi's original healing village, and you know, not to really stop and interrupt you or whatever, but we are in Honduras,
Right.
And we are at USHA Village, where there are thermal waters and the jungle is the backdrop of the resort, and the meals are alkaline, and we are here, and USHA is in the business of healing. So,
yes,
you know, if you haven't been to USHA, then you want to come to USHA.
Yes. A lot of the people that know me know I talked about it all the time because I helped him build this.
Yeah.
And those huts are made out of mud brick. They're adobe. They're going to last. They're going to be here. When we're all gone, they're still going to be here.
Yeah, the tile might not feel that way, but the adobe is in place.
It's in place. You know, and that's the thing about when we use what's available to us. It's always long lasting. Look at those pyramids. Those pyramids been here for they don't even know how many years it's been here, but they're still here as a what? As a testimony to our what we are, ingenuity. Not the who we are, but the what we are.
Yeah.
And for the young ladies who just arrived, I've been doing a series, and now I'm on, it's like a manual, you can say, being human.
A manual
because
of being human.
A lot of us, we have these ideas that have been planted into our understanding that don't have nothing to do with us. It has everything to do with the mechanisms of control within the society.
And really distracting us from ourselves.
Yes, and but it's for a purpose. And the purpose is to maintain control over the environment that they feel like they created. And because we was essential in the building of this environment, we are part of the same thing, yet it's not what we really are. It's not what we really about. We was always people connected to the earth because we all come from this earth. So we always acknowledge that, hey, I'm a part of this. Once you go living in cities, you forget the earth. I mean, you don't see the stars, the moon. All you see is the sun when it's shining. But other than that, people don't look up because you got these skyscrapers. You got all these things that distort our energy.
Chemtrails.
I mean,
chemtrails, we ain't even going to talk about them.
I mean, and don't let the place that you live be facing in the wrong direction. And you'll never know what's going on unless you happen to go outside and just take a moment and be like, oh, okay, the moon is out. Or,
right.
You know.
Right, because it's not designed for that. It's designed for distraction.
Yeah.
But it's up to us to grab ourselves and go, no, I'm not going to be distracted by the facade because it's an illusion. We created all of the things that we see, and yet these things that we call man-made, all of it we made. We just forgot who the hell we are. Like I said, it's the difference between who you are and what you are. Most of us only deal with the who we are all of our life. And then we die never knowing what we are until that moment when the breath is gone and you become the totality of yourself for a moment, then you realize all of what you are, and then you got to come back.
I think about a lot of it's like it's the difference between the I, like the letter I, and then EYE. Like you seeing that the being that is represented as you is a vehicle. That's the I. That's the third eye. That's the seeing and the knowing.
That's the totality I.
Yeah.
But we deal with the
ego I.
Exactly. We deal with that part of us that we've been taught. I mean, nobody escapes it. That's how encompassing it is.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's only a few people on this earth that runs this planet. And because they have the ability to manipulate everything, they do. And then us being unaware of what we are, but being totally aware of who we are, becomes sucked into it. Why? Because the who you are says, I have to have a nice place to live. I have to have this kind of car. I have to have, that's the who. The what we are says, I don't need any of that. All I need is breath, and I can change everything. Because the what we are creates the environment that the who we are live in, and the who we are don't even know it.
And then look, and I always, what I love about when he says that is that, it almost makes it seem like material things are like, and yet, no, we don't need a bunch of material things, but isn't it wonderful to have that? Isn't it wonderful to be able to move about and do what the hell you want to do and go when you want to go and have the funds to do it and stuff. So, like, when you become, in congruency and parallel with the energies of that thing, then you can have that too. There's no law or book of being a good or being on the right vibration that means that you have to lack. The hell with lack.
Yeah.
That shit is unnecessary.
It is really
because
because no
Mother
lack.
Earth is so
Abundant.
plentiful.
Abundant.
Then to take lack, like, oh, I can't, and like that is not
Part of
the
our
mindset
existence.
and being on and in tune with what Earth is. And we're women. Men are wonderful. Like, I mean, you guys are gods. We're goddesses, and this is a female Earth.
It's a feminine universe we live in.
It's a feminine universe.
It definitely is. And we have to respect that. That's why when you disrespect your mother, you disrespect your sister, your wife, you disrespecting the earth itself, and you ain't gonna fare well.
And you disrespecting yourself, and the same goes true for us. It really is yin and yang, right? It is
The balance
both.
between the two. That creates power.
Yeah.
So getting back to, and that's very much a part of it because, that brings us back what we just got out of is relationships. When relationships come together and they're in unison with the universe, that relationship is going to produce power.
Yeah.
It's going to be a demonstration to all that look upon it as an expression of the power that the universe contains. That's what relationships are for. We have reduced them down to the dumbest things.
To our lower vibration, which is real.
I was just looking at this thing they're talking about. This guy had the super swingers, some shit. Super swingers. And I know what that, I'm like, why is that something that should be randomized? Where here you have individuals who say they love one another, and then they going into a place where it's an orgy. And you saying you love yourself, and you love this person, but you're taking them into an environment that who knows what's there. But this is the kind of things that people consider to be, you can say, okay, because of the times that we live in.
It's a trend.
And yet,
It's a trend.
a trend, and yet it's some of the most detrimental things to our existence. But the reason why we continue doing those things is because of the people who's around us reinforce those things. And I remember when I had decided, no, I am not going to be out here robbing and stealing and tripping. My buddies who were still out there, they always let me know, man, what are you doing? Man, you need to be up in here. What, you going to school? Oh, you a book boy now? Oh, it was never, hey man, how can I help you out? You need some books? I got all this money, man. Here, take this so you can get you some books. It was never that. No, it was always, man, you tripping. What you a bookworm? What you think you gonna do? And I had to let one of my buddies know, and I hope he's still looking at it. His name, we called him McWash.
We ain't got name no name.
I'm naming him. He used to walk around, he had this stroll like, he was pimping. I said, Wash. I said, man, you talking all that shit? I said, the knowledge that I'm acquiring, nobody can take from me. I said, but what you doing, that little money, I said, they can take that and your ass going to get locked up behind it. I said, so where's that an advantage? I said, the knowledge that I acquire always is going to give me the ability to acquire more. He probably in jail right now, to be honest. I hope he ain't, bro, but, because that was his trajectory. And they set that up in communities like we come from, which they consider to be impoverished. But we're never impoverished. Why? Because when we concentrate on who we are, that tells us a set of things that we acquiesce to. But when we put our attention on what we are, it supersedes all that. Because the what we are says we're going to create an environment that's conducive to our growth. And when you create an environment that's conducive to your growth, people are going to want to come just to see it. What we're looking at here is an expression of Sebi's growth. I remember when he asked me, I was working in aerospace. I was working for Rocketdyne, helping build a space shuttle main engines. He said, hey man, I want to build a healing village in Honduras. Would you come help me? I looked at him, I was like, that ain't even a question. I had never been here. I had just separated from my wife, and I was like, I'm free. I was here. And ever since I've been here, coming back, each time I came back, because I was always back and forth, I said, man, I'm living there. This is the place. Why I lived in Hawaii for 7 years before I came here. Well, we was living in Baltimore. I left Hawaii in 2016, August. I left in October. He died in August. And I said, well, I got to go back and help get things in order. I knew, this was left to my sister, so I knew she didn't have all the knowledge needed to operate this thing. I used to operate this thing by myself. But I was in my 30s. I had already experienced a lot of things, and that's where knowledge helps us. It's the ability to take the knowledge that you have acquired and put it into practical use. Because if there's no practical use for it, then the knowledge is useless. And that's where we get duped all the time, because a lot of the knowledge that we acquire is not helping us to become the best what we can be. It deludes us and making us think that it's making the who we think we are look good. And the who we think we are, it's an illusion. I mean, it's as hard as it may seem to us, what we are is energy. What we project is this physical expression. How do we get to project it? Because we come through the entry of a womb. And as we come through that womb, our whole spirit is in that baby. So babies come here knowing. They don't come here stupid. Not by a long shot. How do we get stupid? They make us stupid. They tell us, you got to do this. You got to do that. When you was a kid, you be having all kind of worlds you be living in. that's not real. They tell us everything contrary to what we are experiencing. Yet when somebody who have just a little bit of understanding, when a child comes and express those, the parent will be like, that is wonderful. So maybe next time you can introduce me to them. And if they're attuned, they will meet them. Because we have all kind of inorganic beings on this realm that we live in. Everything don't have bodies, yet they're conscious just like us. And to ask them why they're here is the same thing to ask you why you're here. They're here. Yes, we have purpose. Our purpose is to become the totality of ourselves. There's no difference. So, getting to being, these are the things we have to begin to digest as we come into the knowledge of our beingness and not just our humanness.
So how do you come into the knowledge of your beingness? Like what? So, what, being present? Where?
It starts with accepting that your past is past and your future you don't have a clue about. It represents the unknown. Your past represents the known that you experienced there. But you got to remember, you move from there to the point that you're at now. So that has no more relevance. Now you're moving to another point. That point that you're moving to has to be different from that which you just left. Why? Because if you keep reaching back to that point that you left, you're going to be at that point again, reaching back again, at that point again, reaching back again. Y'all get what I'm saying?
So that, like, the way it breaks down in real life is when you're presented with the same situation or a similar situation, then instead of doing and reacting the same way every time, then you do something different. Then you reach under different, understanding. Then you instead of me getting upset and, getting ready to fight or whatever, let me just back away and say, let me just hang up the phone. Let me not engage, because a lot of us are engagers, right? What you say, what if we disengage? What could happen? But we know when we engage every time, what happens.
And that's the point. What is the engagement? The engagement is because of who we think we are.
And that's at the expense of your energy.
That's at
so
the
now
expense of what
you are, the energy that you may have stored up, you are expending on
nonsense.
They took my parking space, or they didn't move up quick enough in line.
I didn't get that promotion that I thought I was supposed to get.
Whatever it is, and let me just say this, whatever that experience is, we bring it to ourselves in an a la carte way. It is totally made for you. It ain't got nothing to do with nobody around you or whatever. The way you are experiencing is a la carte your thoughts. And so, if these things are coming, then, the first question you should ask yourself is why do I keep experiencing this thing? Why do I keep having the same situation? And once we can, admit to our presence in it and our advocation of it, then we can, walk ourselves out of it and be like, I'm not going to do that no more. I see myself in it, my part in it. And then, we start having less and less, like, disharmony and more harmony.
Exactly, because you disconnect from those connections that bring disharmony.
Right. We see things and experience things as we are. Not as it is. As we are. Because where you find somebody who don't give a damn about that, they be like, oh, you like, well, I don't give a damn about that. And they have no problem with it. But you up at night losing sleep over it. Gotta let that shit go.
Gotta let it go.
Yeah.
then we start living.
Yeah.
Hey, being who you are is the most beautiful experience you're going to have while you are in this earth realm. I'm going to tell you from experience, because in being, every day is a new day.
Yeah.
Every day brings new adventure. Every day brings new life. When you're
and you gotta,
human, just who you are, you can make every day the same. I hear people go, I say, man, how's it going? You know, same old shit. Wait. What are you saying? It says death and life is in the power of our tongue. So we putting this out into the universe. Hey, how you doing, man? So. What are you speaking over your own self? You got to remember this, who we are is guided by the what we are.
Yeah.
So when you allow the who you are to speak out of things that the what we are don't have a clue about, the what we are still gonna go out and make it happen for you.
Right. So the thoughts give the cells, because once the thought, once it becomes a thought, then it manifests in the physical. And so now you're gonna bring about what you've been thinking. You give your physical marching orders. Your cells go, oh, okay, this is what we doing, this is what we on, and it has to be so. And that's why the I, the EYE, like the all-seeing eye, has to order your steps, or then you'll just fall into the regular what everybody else is doing.
You're gonna fall into the merry-go-round.
Then you're a victim in of your environment. Then living in your environment and ordering your steps.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's where we at, y'all. Hey, real shit. We got these are things that are pertinent to our time, because
and it's
now
really simple, though.
We have moved from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius.
Yeah.
The age of Aquarius represents the outpouring of knowledge. That is, the Aquarian is the one with the vessel on his shoulder and pouring the waters of knowledge out onto the earth. This is the time where all those things that are hidden are coming to the surface. So, to not open yourself up to the knowledge that comes to you, it's coming to you because you're ready to hear it. I tell folks, they be like, man, what you get is what you need at the point you're at.
Yeah.
And that's a fact. There ain't no coincidence.
Always.
No accident.
Yeah.
Those that need to hear is here to open their ear.
You only hear what's relevant for you at that time. And then when it's true, then, maybe you'll be able to draw on it, pull on it at another time. Oh, I remember when, I saw this, or I heard that, and I know better. We don't have to experience everything. We can see things and learn.
We are experiencing as we live. Every day is a new experience for you to engage the totality of everything around you.
Yeah.
We just relegated to things that we think are important, and things that we don't think are important we don't pay no attention to. But in reality, we pay attention to everything.
Yeah. And
we just don't acknowledge it in our awareness.
Right.
But yet, I ain't gonna say but yet, what we are is all knowing. It sees everything. So, to deny your own self the access to what you are because you caught up in the who you are is a great disservice to yourself.
So how do you get uncaught up in...
Again, it starts with letting go of your past. You got to let your past go. You have to. Whatever way, method you discover, because, I'm not going to hold your hand and take you to the water. I'm going to show you the direction of the water and tell you go drink. So I'm showing you the direction you need to go in. You have to go and find it for yourself, because it's not real until you discover it for yourself.
Yeah. And it's so a la carte. It's different for everybody. You could be twin sisters. I got 2 sets of twins. They couldn't be more different.
Real, that's real. We all individual.
Yeah.
We are individual energy and individual consciousness.
Yeah.
That represents the totality of all that is.
Yeah.
Where we have lost our way is that we disconnect from the all and just believe the who.
Yeah.
And
the ego.
The who?
It's about to be a party down there, y'all, so that's good. But, you know, I think now's a good time to open it up to... So what we always do is open it up. You guys can ask a question. You can always, you know, throw something out there or whatever. But if you guys have anything you want to ask or add or say or whatever, we certainly want to hear it.
We welcome it.
Yeah.
So you keep saying to forget about the past, but how do you forget about the past? How do you let the past go?
Just let it go.
All right, look.
Give me an example.
All right, then I'm going to show you.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to share with you.
Okay.
All right. In my past, I told her I didn't like people to look at me for a long period of time. I would be like, "Oh, why are you staring at me? What's wrong with you?" And then I would get all up in their face. That was how I reacted to people looking at me, because being in that state, I really didn't like myself. So I didn't want nobody to know what you looking at. So now that thought, the thing that stirred that thought was that I grew up in the industry. I grew up in Los Angeles, gang banging, watched buddies get killed, all kind of craziness. But that reaction came from that idea, where now that idea don't exist no more. Why? Because I realized that taking a life don't bring back a life.
Yeah.
Taking a life only really aggravates your life. Why? Because you taking something that you don't have the ability to create. So now, once that understanding becomes a reality, I knew it then, but I didn't act on it. Once you act on the things you know, then the history becomes obsolete. Why? Because the history no longer has a pull on how you feel about a thing. It was a time, again, in relationships, when the woman would say something to me, I'd be like, look, I ain't got time to hear this shit, and I'm gone. Whereas, as I began to move within the realms of the spirit, as the universe guided me, a woman would say something in the spirit, be like, let her say it. You here with her because I want you here with her. So, deal with it. So then you have to use the knowledge that you have acquired to help you in those moments when you feel like just going off of being who you say, that's just the way that I am. That's not the way we are. We have the ability we have a split second to react. And in that split second you can go, I'm not going to pull from the past. I'm going to see how this transpires. Even when your emotions are hollering, hell no! Because hey, look, we've been in these bodies and have trained these bodies to be a certain way, and they don't just relinquish that. To relinquish that means that you're telling your body you don't have control no more, and you surrendering all the control to the spirit, which the body want to pretend like it don't know. Yet the body also really understands that that's what animates it. Once your consciousness leave this body, it's just a flab of meat.
You did.
And like a steak in the store.
So, you know, and so that is the, like, there is no, this is what I wanted to say when you asked that question, there is no blanket, like, hey, there was the past, now it's gone. It is, like, really, to me, I felt like what I was going to say was a summary of what he was just explaining. It is in the everyday, you know, undoing of yourself, you know, in the way you move about. And it's being okay with saying, I need some change. Because once you be like, oh, I don't need to change, this is the way I am, then you mess up. Yeah. Because we are forever evolving and growing, so to change is good. So once you get past yourself and be like, okay, I could use some change, then it's in the everyday little things. Like I was saying to them yesterday, like, say you a road rager, and when somebody cuts you off, you lose it. You know, it's the not losing it. It's just that simple, right? It's the, you know, things that really, you know, set you off and tick you off, becoming present of those things. And then they're building blocks for the bigger things, like the cultural things, the what my grandmama said nobody better not do, or I'll do this. You know what I mean? It's the undoing of all of the things that we put in as a response. And they become our body taking control of us and not us taking control of them. I'm saying I am actively in this class. I'm not just, you know, it came, I recognize it, it's the past, I'm not gonna, no, like, I'll be like, hold me back, because the past wants that the body remember muscle memory. This is our physical. So now we remembering and we react the same, and all we're saying is when you make a series of changes in that and become present in the moments and be like, oh, like I used to have a thing, like I can't stand waiting in line. Like that is, like what the hell, what are y'all doing? Open up another register. Like why are we waiting in line? You know, and we don't think. And, you know, we're not present enough to be like, well, maybe the spirit got us here a little bit longer because something out there is to our detriment. So it's going to keep us right here for a moment while that clears up so we can have safe passage. But we just...
And a lot of times you let it go, you be standing there like, line be long, you be just chilling. Somebody come go, come on, I'm opening this register over here. You know what you be looking for. You be like, ooh.
Right.
And you be seeing folks running, wanting to get in front of you. They be like, no, I called them.
Right.
But that's how the universe operates. When we allow it, what happens is that we reach so much to our past experiences, we bring them back constantly. And by bringing them back constantly, we keep living the same thing over and over.
And so I just said this to him. I was talking about a friend of mine and even myself, when, you know, dating in the past, like this man would have a different name, but it would be the same person. Was constantly dating the same person because I was attracted to the same thing. I was bringing the same energy to me. And so it manifested itself in a way that was palatable to me. And this mug kept appearing. Like it get to a crescendo and let me move on. And then it's all one, but it's the same person. You guys are having the same conversation that you was having with other people that he wasn't privy to. Well, what is that? It means we didn't change. It means we accepted the same things in our life. And so what? We're reliving the same experience. It's really the definition of insanity.
Yeah.
Reliving it over and over again, and we do it over and over again, and in our religious experiences, and the experiences with our blood family, the family we call our family and choose to be in our life. Like we see it until, you know, you become present. And that's really all it takes, is to become present. And then be like, okay, this is how I would normally react. Let me do something different. And then just see where it goes. Like, you know, we can't say what it's going to be, but you're going to find out.
That's the beauty of the unknown. You don't know. If we knew everything, we would already have it all laid out. But what we are, have already laid a path for us so that we can discover ourselves, so that we don't exclude ourselves along that path.
This is another thing I think is crucial to say. Until you get that shit, until you pass that class, that's where you are in the class of life. So it's just like an addict. You know, you becoming an addict at 16 or whatever. You really don't advance in life because here you are, right here at addiction, right? So the 16-year-old addict is the same 40-year-old addict who did not pass the fucking class. Excuse me.
Right.
You didn't pass the class, and so you still in 6th grade. You have not graduated 6th grade in life because you still at addiction. You still haven't learned how to maneuver in this body that you control.
I can only say
Addiction
this.
controls you.
This is our life to live. You get this life to enjoy it to the fullest.
Yeah, so you
Don't cheat yourself. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Don't cheat yourself because society says this or society says that. Right now, I'm sitting here with you guys, and I have stopped being what they consider to be a criminal for a long time. Yeah, I have a warrant out for my arrest. Why?
Oh my God.
Wait, no, that's real. I have a warrant out for my arrest. Why? Because I was driving without a license. Now listen to me. The Supreme Court in 2005 said that you don't need a license to drive your it's your property.
Yeah.
So now I'm going by what the Constitution said, and they're telling me that I don't have that ability. So in essence, you could be doing the right thing and still be considered wrong.
Now I have to say this too. Like, so when we first met, he didn't use ID, and he was like, "Hey, I don't need ID to fly." I was like, "We were in Maryland. We were going to California," and I was like, he was like, "I don't need an ID to fly," and I'm like, "Yes, you do. Okay, and you need a government ID that is not expired, you know." And he was like, "No, I made the reservation." He was like, "I'm telling you, you don't." Made the reservations.
And when I
went
use
to
a
the
prison
airport,
ID,
and look, he had a prison ID that was expired, and had just a picture of it, and then they took him through like a fast lane. He was over on the other side before me. I said, "They just a bitch. He didn't. I had what I was supposed to have." Okay, he didn't have a damn thing. They came and took him, "Sir, come this way," and took him through the thing, and they just did a little pat down, and he was waiting for me. And you don't need, let me tell you something, folks. You don't know, but you don't. There really is the law of the United States. You don't need an ID to fly. They will just give you extra attention and security. That's it.
People,
but that's not what we understand it to be. But that's the truth. Yeah. And we did it more than once. It wasn't not one time. We did it multiple times. And it was the same thing every time. I was like, ain't this exactly.
They don't. It's like in everything. The truth lies right below the surface. Nobody like going. They see everything on the top level. Nobody like going below the surface. Because in order to go below the surface, you got to go below the surface of yourself. And most of us live on the shallow part of our own life. Mm-hmm. So how we deal with everything on this shallow part. Mm-hmm. And you never get to the depths of things. So you always find yourself giving out. Mm-hmm. Whereas when you go into the depths, you find yourself not giving out, but receiving. Mm-hmm. You're receiving information that you didn't even know was there.
But it's always reciprocal. You give and you want to give.
You want to.
Like you want to, offer the best of you and what you have. And you receive too. It's always yin and yang. It's always a reciprocal relationship. Always. Yeah. And when it's not, those are the areas you can focus on and know that that's what you need to work on. Where there is no balance, there's an area that can be tweaked.
Hey, y'all. I hope y'all enjoy. We're going to be back next week for the rest of this. Hey. This, I feel, is one of the most essential parts of what I've been talking about because one leads to the other.
Yeah.
So it's all about us advancing, not staying in one place, but moving forward. So with that being said, peace, love y'all.
Peace, y'all. Hey, Thursday. And they playing West Coast music like he will crip walk. And,